LEX18 News.
Could this be the scandal that ends Rick Pitino's long run as a college coach in the Bluegrass?
Louisville is just part of a much bigger investigation, but the repercussions will likely be worse for this scandal-plagued program.
And Eddie Montgomery opens up about losing his friend and the other half of the legendary country music duo that started in Lexington. LEX18 News at 6 starts now. Good evening, I'm Kevin Christopher.
And I'm Nancy Cox. Thank you for joining us at 6. A federal corruption case could bring down several top-flight college basketball programs. So far, assistant coaches at the University of Arizona, Oklahoma State, Southern Cal, and Auburn are facing criminal charges.
The U.S. Attorney in New York says those coaches and several others who haven't been charged worked with a shoe company executive, a money manager, and some sports managers to pay off recruits to get them to certain schools. Now, it was clear early in the day that one of the big-time programs in the Bluegrass could be involved, and then we got confirmation this afternoon. It's Louisville. LEX18's Dorian Kraft begins our big story coverage.
The indictment paperwork that was released today describes University 6 as a public research university in Kentucky with about 22,640 students enrolled. U of L is the only school that fits that description, and around 2 o'clock the school confirmed that it is involved in the case. And for a school that's already been under the NCAA microscope, the Cardinals program could be in serious trouble. University 6 became a part of the larger federal corruption case back in May of this year. The U.S. Attorney in New York says James Gatto, the head of global marketing for Adidas, conspired with money managers and an unnamed coach to funnel money to an All-American high school basketball player to get him to go to University 6. The paperwork says everyone in the scheme agreed to the deal on or around June 3rd. That's the same day that All-American forward Brian Bowen announced he was going to play his college ball for Coach Pitino in Louisville. Investigators say there was actually a behind-the-scenes bidding war with another show company over where the player would go to college. At the time, Rick Pitino said the school didn't spend any money recruiting in an attempt to land the five-star player. The indictment said that it was a late coup. But it seems that recruitment was getting bankrolled after all.
In exchange for bribes ranging from $13,000 to almost $100,000 each, these coaches allegedly pushed particular managers and advisors on the players and their families.
Prosecutors believe the Adidas executive was setting up 4 installment payments to the player's father and giving money to the player's mother. Undercover agents have recordings of their suspects talking about ways to cover up the payments and make sure the player would sign management deals with them when he goes pro as a likely first-round NBA draft pick. Just a few weeks after landing one recruit, investigators say they caught the same crew planning the same scheme to push another top recruit for the 2019 class to University 6. In that meeting, the men, including a basketball coach, acknowledged the university was already on probation with the NCAA and would have to be very careful. At least 2 coaches are implicated in this case, and so far the Louisville basketball program itself has not released any kind of statement on today's allegations. And it is important to remember that as of right now, no U of L coach or player is facing criminal charges. You can read the full indictment for everyone involved on our website, LEX18.com.
Well, as Dorian mentioned in her report, Louisville's basketball program is already on probation after a book detailing a sex scandal involving recruits was published. A little more than 3 months ago, the NCAA ordered the program to vacate 123 wins, skip the postseason last year, go on probation, and get fewer scholarships for the next 4 years. Head coach Rick Pitino, if he continues, still has to serve a 5-conference game suspension for the upcoming season, and all postseason money from 2012 to 2015 had to be returned. The school did not have to give up its 2013 national championship, at least not yet. Today's NCAA bombshell involving the University of Louisville came as news that wasn't surprising for a number of true Blue fans.
LEX18's Connor McHugh was out with those fans waiting for tickets for Big Blue Madness, and the mood is not exactly somber there.
You'll find many of the most passionate UK fans out here in front of Memorial Coliseum all week. And while usually when they're camping out here, the conversation is about the upcoming UK team, the upcoming Midnight Madness, and everything else this season, today it's about the controversy with the cross-state rival. Decked out in blue and camped out for Big Blue Madness, some UK fans halted everything to laugh at a rival's expense this afternoon.
Funneling money to players' families.
As the NCAA announced its latest corruption scandal, University number 6 was the talk of Tent City.
It doesn't surprise me anything that happens at Louisville. So much has happened and so much they keep on pushing underneath the rug.
While the allegations involve an apparel company and at least one Louisville coach, fans camping out quickly pointed the finger elsewhere. Many say they believe the man in charge is to blame.
He knows what's going on around him. You don't get paid that much not to babysit your guys.
I hope that the NCAA puts Pitino where he belongs, out of basketball coaching.
As for the cross-state rivalry, fans say they're not concerned. Some wouldn't mind it being a little more one-sided if sanctions hurt the team in red.
It wouldn't bother me to see them Duke lose the same thing.
Many of the fans we spoke with here today say they'll be paying close attention to all the fallout over the next couple days, whether it be from their chairs and tents around here or the comfort of their own home. We're covering the news live in Lexington from the LEX18 Mobile Newsroom. Back to you.
For more updates on this evolving investigation, and there will be, check on our website, LEX18.com, for the latest about the case. And connect with the news anywhere you are with the LEX18 News app for your smartphone. Count on LEX18.
In other news this evening, an unimaginable crime in Clay County that shocked the entire country. A woman kidnapped and brutally murdered her stepson. Stephanie
Spitzer pleaded guilty to killing little Scotty Baker. But now she has a chance at parole. Her date with the parole board is tomorrow. LEX18's Conroy DeLuche has more with Scotty's biological mother.
Have you ever suffered from any mental?
25 long years since Stephanie Spitzer murdered Scotty Baker.
I'm still in the same place. I'm still as angry as I was then.
Scotty was only 10 years old when he took his last breath. Ruth Rose says her children still have nightmares.
And having to relive it for parole hearings just brings it all back. It's not easy, and we don't want to keep doing this.
By April 1994, Rose and her family had already gone through the trial of Suzanne Baker, who police say picked up Scotty from school disguised in a wig. Stephanie Spitzer's time in front of a jury was next.
Talked to my family, and we just did not want to go through the trial.
So instead of a trial, Spitzer pleaded guilty to murder in 1994. She was given a life sentence with the chance at parole after 25 years. It's a decision Rose made for her family, but now regrets.
I wish I'd pushed forward. I wish I could have been strong enough to went ahead and had the trial and went for the death penalty.
Rose told the parole board yesterday why Spitzer should never leave prison and still feels the same way about her she did 25 years ago.
I don't even know what I would say to her. If I had the opportunity to be in the same room with her, I'd probably try to kill her. And I've never made a secret of that.
Covering the news, Conroy DeLuche, LEX18 News.
Spitzer is scheduled to go before the parole board tomorrow morning.
We will have a camera in Frankfort for those proceedings and have more on LEX18 News beginning at noon.
A Whitley County farmer thought he saw a deer in his pond, but then realized it was a dead body. Now, the pond isn't close to the road, and the farmer has no idea how the man got there. Now, police are trying to figure out how the man got there, and the coroner is working on a cause of death.
It was pretty much a shock to me. I couldn't believe it. A person was in there. I could believe a deer, and I expected a deer.
The death investigation is being handled by Kentucky State Police.
Another terrific day, but that may be changing for us tomorrow. Max Track Live Doppler at the moment, not much going on, but we could actually track a renegade shower or two in the area tomorrow afternoon with a cold front that will actually do its job. You go here from our future track through the evening. And again, another great summer-like evening out there. Tomorrow morning begins warm, maybe a little fog for some folks, especially in some of the valleys. But by tomorrow afternoon, a few showers could indeed become part of our future, but still pretty few and far between. They're not going to amount to much. And the heat. We're talking temperatures that are still running middle 80s here in the 6 o'clock hour. Not bad for late September, but changes are coming. We will talk about that coming up in a couple of minutes.
All right, Bill, thanks. Country music star Eddie Montgomery is breaking his silence about the death of Troy Gentry. His longtime music partner and friend was tragically killed in a helicopter crash September 8th. LEX18's Kylie Mills has the update.
A country music duo that stood the test of time.
They had one of those friendships that's almost like a brotherhood.
Troy Gentry and Eddie Montgomery both grew up in Kentucky, struggling to break into the country music scene. But once their talents came together in the late 90s, the rest is history.
In the early 2000s, there was hardly anybody any bigger than they were. You know, they've not been at the top of the charts in a few years, but they were a major voice in country music.
Eddie Montgomery finally opened up about Troy Gentry's tragic death in a helicopter crash, releasing this statement, quote, "Our world was turned upside down in an instant, and nothing could have prepared us for this," end quote. He goes on to say their new single, Better Me, speaks volumes about who Gentry had become.
What I hear in Troy's voice is wisdom, I think is the best word for it.
Bill Clary with Coyote Country 100.7 FM says the loss was felt by musicians and listeners alike, but that the legacy of Montgomery Gentry's music will never die.
You could almost feel the pride of their small-town roots, their small-town Kentucky roots, and just about everything they did. As long as people are interested in the experiences that they talked about, that music's going to live.
Covering the news, Kylan Mills, LEX18 News.
Gentry's life was honored at a memorial at the Grand Ole Opry September 14th. Eddie Montgomery did not speak at that service, but he was a pallbearer. Seems like an odd item to steal, but this thief could be getting away with a lot of money from a Lexington store.
Find out how you can help police catch him next on LEX18 News at 6.